Let's now bring in Zingisani Nkamana, CEO of Ekurhuleni Housing Company, just to talk a little bit further on this particular matter. So a very good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for your time. Of course, we've been seeing those devastating scenes, the evictions, and of course a fire that broke out at the Home Affairs Department. Just speak to us about your involvement in these particular evictions. What can you tell us about what you know and what the Ekurhuleni Housing Company has to say in terms of its reaction?
Good afternoon, Unati. Good afternoon to the viewers of SABC. Unfortunately, I'm connecting from the Nyala of the SAPS due to the violent situation outside. The EHC involvement starts from the process where we had sought to consult with the unlawful occupants as far back as October 2024 with a view of regularizing them so that they can pay the rentals directly to EHC. Currently, as things stand, there is a group called PED Forum, which is a syndicate that collects rental monies from the unlawful occupants that stay in EHC complexes. So the company did not have any other option but to resort to an eviction proceeding, and the eviction order was granted to EHC on the 26th of June 2025, and we're now executing that eviction order.
So this court order was granted on the 26th of June, as you say, Mr. Nkamana. Were residents of that particular dwelling, were they told about these evictions? Because as you would have seen from different vantage points, many of those residents are disputing this. In fact, some of them saying that they were not told. Before we speak and delve deeper into the criminal syndicates that have taken that, over the place, speak to us about those that are saying that they in fact do have leases and have, to the best of their knowledge, been paying, some saying and admitting that they have stopped paying a few months ago. But just speak to us about just the utterances that were made there following the comments that we heard there from the Ekurhuleni Mayor, Mr. Xhakaza, saying that, of course, as you are asserting to now, that some of them occupied those residents illegally.
Faro Park has got about 440 units. Out of that 440, only about 17 have been making their rental payments consistently. So the remaining number is occupied by those that we regard as having hijacked our properties. Before the evictions proceeded at the High Court, everyone, all the unlawful occupants, were informed about this step that we're taking. And in fact, they were represented in court. They had an attorney and an advocate that was briefed by them. So it is not accurate, or it is not true when they say they were not informed and they did not know about the eviction.
And what we understand is that some people had been living there since 2016. So you are saying to us roughly around 423 occupants were not making payment. How long standing has this been, Mr. Nkamani? When did you discover that this was indeed the case? And also speak to us then a little bit about these criminal syndicates that have hijacked parts of the building.
The non-payment of rentals has been taking place at least for the past 5 years. So for the past 5 years, the entity was unable to collect rentals in the complex. Rental collection remained below 10%, and at some point it will just improve above 10%, between 10 and 12%. With regards to the PED Forum, this is a group of a syndicate of people who have hijacked our units, who are collecting rentals on a monthly basis. And anyone who refuses to pay to them is intimidated with assault and even in some instances with deaths. We have received information from some of the tenants that are paying rentals about the level of intimidation. We have also experienced that intimidation and the actual violence meted against the officials of EHC, the EMPD officers. Just before we did the evictions, we tried to assess who the tenants are that would qualify for alternative accommodation. However, that attempt was meted with high levels of violence to a point that where we had to remove the cleaners, we had to remove security, we had to remove our office that was operating in this complex because of high levels of violence meted against us as the entity.
What I'm also hearing is that the high levels of violence were not only meted by those residents who have been refusing to pay rent, but also the syndicate that hijacked the building. I did not quite hear the name of that forum that you mentioned. But why is the police not involved? Why are the police not going after the syndicate? Because I would imagine in the mix of people that have been evicted, maybe some of them also fell victim to these hijackers.
Indeed, they do. The syndicate, the criminal activity, are meted against anyone who tries to bring order in our complexes. The example I made earlier about the verification or the assessment that we wanted to do in terms of who qualifies for alternative accommodation, we are accompanied by EMPD officers, and their vehicle was damaged by these hijackers. For the hijackers, they are making money in this complex because on a monthly basis they are collecting rentals which do not go to EHC but actually go to their pockets. So we're dealing here with a serious criminal syndicate which has not only hijacked the units in this complex, which is Faru Park, but has also hijacked units in Delville and Airport Park. We have given the police the names of the people who are in the forefront of the syndicate. And as you know, the legal process in South Africa, at times, they take longer than one would have wished them to take.
Let's wrap up that conversation now. Zingisani Nkamana, CEO of Ekurhuleni Housing Company, saying that they're besieged by forums that hijacked these buildings, that Faru Park was not the only building under their auspices that was hijacked, but two other units in the area that have also been hijacked.